Okay, we're here with a gentleman who would rather not disclose his name. He was in Pinellas County domestic violence hearing court today. He's had a petition for an injunction filed against him. And he'd like to tell us about a former experience or a past experience with another petition for an injunction for domestic violence. And was it an ex-cop, sir?
Was an ex-cop out of the city of Largo. She wasn't a cop very long.
That's Largo, Florida.
Largo, Florida. She was demoted down.
Would you like to give her name?
Cynthia Stoner.
Cynthia Stoner. What a name for a cop.
Yeah, exactly. She got ridiculed for that one a lot. Basically, she had attempted to get one against me. It was enforced. Based on that particular time frame, I was working. I wasn't going to tell my work that I've got to step off a $300 million project to go handle some Mickey Mouse domestic violence injunction. It was issued 15 years, basically.
Yeah, tell us about that. 15 years. It sounds like a long time.
Yeah,
how long is it usually?
On the books in Tallahassee, it's supposed to be 1 year.
When you say on the books, you mean the law books?
Law books. On the law in the state of Florida. Now, every judge reserves the right to issue it at their own time frame. I've just seen one today issued 5 years. People don't realize, and judges don't realize, that when these things are issuing them out that far seems a little excessive without getting the person in. I really think that in Pinellas County, more so, they need to go back to having these things issued at 1 year and being done, because you're ruining people's lives with this. With a former cop doing it to me, it's crazy because she knew where I worked, and she would continue to come around where I worked.
Was she a code enforcement officer?
She was a code enforcement
Okay,
officer.
so she wasn't a police officer. She was code enforcement.
At this time, she wasn't, but she was a former patrolman with the city of Largo. At one point, she was demoted down. She was terminated, then rehired based on a pending lawsuit, placed in dispatch. Worked in dispatch 2-3 years.
You did?
No, she did.
She did. Okay.
She decided she wanted to get in with code enforcement, and at that time we were together. So
what were her allegations?
That I had made threats in the past, that I had told her I would ruin her career, I would do all these frivolous things, and that I ripped her door off of her garage leading to her washing machine and dryer room in her driveway. It's funny because the Tarpon Springs officer that went out to her home had decided to just take a look, and the officer knew that it was a ridiculous claim. The officer went over and looked, notated in her report that that's not what happened, that clearly this door is old and had been falling off, and this woman was just simply trying to hammer it out for this guy for whatever reason. So that's my story with that. I would encourage anyone, do your homework, look at your local laws, local municipalities. Do your homework. Don't just walk into a courtroom and say, yeah, here, give me a 3-year injunction or give me a 1-year injunction. Today I proved it point blank. I wasn't going to walk in there and let them do this. I knew that they legally had to serve me.
Can you tell us a little about your criminal history outside the domestic injunction front? Have you ever been arrested?
Yeah, but I'll keep that on the low.
You don't want to talk about that?
For legal purposes.
Can you tell us how many times you've been arrested?
2 times.
You ever beat somebody's ass real good and not get arrested?
Nope. That's what's crazy. Is you always get portrayed to be the bad guy, and it's something as simple as arguing with somebody and you go to jail. And what I find crazy is the people that do this, the people that back you into a corner, will literally cry wolf 1,000 times and state that they're in fear for their life, but they're not telling the whole story. It's, if you're in fear for your life, why do you go around somebody? And the same thing with this code enforcement officer with the city of Largo.
You mean that your question is, if you fear for your life at the hands of person A, why do you go and hang out with person A?
Exactly. And what this turned into with my job situation, because she was coming around my job and using her powers as a code enforcement officer to essentially have a reason to come around. I don't know whether it seemed to me like she was trying to bait me into a corner. She found out the hard way that was not a smart thing to do. because I literally emailed the mayor, the vice mayor, all 6 city commissioners, Tracy Schofield, the head of code enforcement, her particular boss, Pete. I emailed all these folks, Largo HR, Largo assistant HR, Largo attorneys, and made it very clear that this
City
is,
of Largo
this is
attorneys?
harassment.
Do you remember those names?
I don't remember those names right off the top of my head now, but I can tell you this.
Was it Tammy Bach?
I don't remember.
Okay, keep going.
I don't remember, but I know that going into this, I pretty much made it clear I wouldn't take this kind of harassment, and if it needed to get to the news media, I had no problem with it getting to the news media, and I was pretty sure I had an ironclad case. Funny thing is, after I sent this email, 2 days later, Code Enforcement Officer Pete Jensen had sent me a email stating that the property in question was not ours, that they were closing the case. They apologized. Pete actually came out later that day, and I spoke to him, and I said, you see where this is a problem, where you have somebody that's in fear for their life, but they're coming around. I said, you know, it's you and Tracy Schofield, former Pinellas Park police officer, I believe, he had decided to use his powers as a former officer to make very loud and intimidating threats to me. And I pretty much told him before this email was fired off, you know, be careful what you wish for, because I will do my research and I will make sure. And I did. I did my research. I fired off the email, and lo and behold, because it went all the way up to mayor to the mayor of the city of Largo, it stopped. And it was pretty cut and dry. According to a few friends of mine who are Largo city commissioners, this is not the only incidents they've had with her. And lo and behold, I think it was back in October, November, she was pending termination with the city of Largo.
What's it like having sex with a cop?
Yeah.
Any different than anybody else at the end of the day?
Different than anybody else. I don't really give a shit when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Did she want to put handcuffs on you in bed or anything?
Nah.
No? All right, we definitely appreciate your time. Folks, I'm going to ask this gentleman if he'd like to do a follow-up interview once his case is resolved, his current case, which is not with Miss Stoner, former police officer, but with someone else today.
Correct.
So I'm going to touch base with him off camera and see if he wants to continue that. We'd love for you to put some comments in the comment section with any questions that you'd like to ask this gentleman. Thanks very much, YouTube viewers. Keep watching. Have a good day.